This is VOA News via remote. I'm Marissa Melton. The Russian military has announced hundreds more Ukrainian fighters have surrendered at the steel plant in southeastern Ukraine. AP correspondent Karen Chamas reports.
Russia's Defense Ministry spokesman Igor Konashenkov confirmed over 770 Ukrainian fighters had laid down their arms at the Azovstal steel mill in Mariupol. He also said Russian authorities would treat the wounded. All those in need of inpatient treatment are receiving assistance in medical institutions of the Donetsk People's Republic. Footage released by the Russian military showed Ukrainian soldiers standing in line as Russian military officers meticulously inspected their belongings. While Ukraine said it hopes to get the soldiers back in a prisoner swap, Russia threatened to put some of them on trial for war crimes. I'm Karen Cham.
The U.S. Senate completed congressional action Thursday on a new $40 billion aid package for Ukraine, overwhelmingly approving it and sending the measure to President Joe Biden for his expected signature. The package is intended to buttress Ukraine over the next 5 months to combat Russia's ongoing invasion. It includes money for military equipment, training, and weapons, as well as billions of dollars in humanitarian aid, including money to help address global food shortages caused by the 3-month conflict. The 86-11 Senate vote came on top of an equally lopsided vote in favor of the legislation in the House of Representatives last week. It's a broad show of continuing U.S. support for Ukraine at a time when the politically fractious Congress is often sharply divided on the major issues of the day. You can keep up with news from Ukraine at our website, voanews.com. From Washington, this is VOA News. The U.S. House of Representatives panel investigating the riot at the U.S. Capitol building wants to talk to another Republican congressman. AP Washington correspondent Sagar Meghani reports.
The committee wants to know about a tour of the Capitol. Georgia's Barry Loudermilk led the day before the attack. In a letter, the panel says there are indications some people and groups tried to gather information about the Capitol's layout. The committee has now asked for cooperation from at least 8 lawmakers whom it believes have information key to the attack's planning and execution, along with former President Trump's potential role in inciting it. The request to Loudermilk comes a week after a dramatic move to subpoena top House Republican Kevin McCarthy and 4 other members. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
The 18-year-old suspect in the Buffalo, New York grocery store mass shooting last weekend was formally charged with first-degree murder during a brief court appearance on Thursday. Peyton Gendron was escorted into the courtroom, flanked by police officers, wearing an orange jumpsuit and a white face mask. He was handcuffed and shackled. He remained silent throughout the 1-minute proceeding, which was attended by some relatives of the victims. Gendron was ordered held in custody without bail for further action from a grand jury and is next expected in court June the 9th. Gendron's attorney, Brian Parker, had no comment. Gendron is charged with killing 10 people and wounding 3 others last Saturday at a grocery store in a predominantly black neighborhood. 11 of the victims who were shot were black. The FBI is investigating the attack as a hate crime. President Biden visited the scene on Tuesday. In Afghanistan, the ruling Taliban ordered local television channels to ensure that female program presenters cover their faces while on screen, increasing curbs on women's rights despite a global outcry. Afghan media outlets confirmed that they had received the edict from the Ministry of Vice and Virtue, charged with interpreting and enforcing the Taliban's version of the Islamic Sharia law. Ministry spokesperson Akif Sadiq confirmed to VOA that it had directed all domestic media outlets in the Afghan capital, Kabul, to bar female staff from broadcasting unless their faces are covered. And Twitter is stepping up its fight against misinformation with a new policy cracking down on posts that spread potentially dangerous false stories. The change is part of a broader effort to promote accurate information during times of conflict or crisis. Recapping our top story this hour, Russia's defense ministry says that Thursday that hundreds more Ukrainian soldiers had surrendered at the besieged Azovstal steel plant in Mariupol, bringing the total this week to 1,730.